Go ahead and call the Sandy City Urban Renewal Board meeting to order. Jeff, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Board Member Petzold.
Here.
Board Member Smallwood is absent, excused.
Excused. Yep.
Okay, Board Member Sheldon. Here. And Board Member Walker.
Here.
Board Member Exner.
Here.
Board Member Hokinson.
Here.
Board Member Schneider.
Here.
Board Member Jones.
Here.
And Board Chair Pulliam.
Here. All right, welcome to our Urban Renewal Board meeting. We have on the agenda tonight well, let's start with our approval of our meeting minutes from our July 19th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Board Member Petzold, a second by Member Walker. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or provide me a thumbs up. Aye. Opposed, nay, or a thumbs down. Motion carries. On to new business, the authorization of round 2 of the permanent covered structured program. David Snyder, you want to kick us off?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir, board. We're going to give you a really quick, brief update on the program tonight and where we are right now. And then there are 2 questions before the board. Shall the Sandy Urban Renewal Agency offer a second round of this program? And number 2, if so, what changes, if any, should be made to the program? Jeff, I believe, has a PowerPoint here. First of all, I'm just going to go through real quick and show you where we are with the program. Of the 7 projects that we approved in January, or in March rather, we're completely finished with 4. We're functionally finished with the 5th. We're just waiting on one small thing to get done. We have the 6th scheduled to start shortly, and the 7th is a unique project that I will be starting on tomorrow. And that's the one over at the toll gate. So just to give you an idea, for those of you who haven't had a chance to see all of them yet, I just want to give you a brief showing of what the 5 that are completed or functionally completed look like. So RIA's, I'm sure you guys have already seen. So moving on, this is the one over at La Happy. I know several of you have had an opportunity to sit under that one too. The city did not put any funds into the disco ball, just so you know. Next slide.
How do we see?
You're not
How come we don't get to see?
They're not on.
Oh, you're not seeing the slides? Oh, I'm sorry.
We're
Seeing
good.
it?
Actually, yeah, no, I have one
I'm
on
having
one
to look at
screen. But
Stan.
hey, that's a great one. But yeah, it's not on this one for some reason.
I apologize. So I should have said this before. Big thanks to our IT staff. You actually now have the ability to toggle between the 2 views.
Oh, there's a
So
button.
there's a button.
Okay.
My apologies. I should have
Is
said
it
it.
touch screen or oh
No, there's an actual button on the bottom there.
Okay.
I'm happy to show you.
Technology, we got it.
I got
We're
it.
happy.
Okay. So
Very
this
good.
allows you to choose to see either the slides that
Oh.
are being presented or the people who are in the Zoom
Very
meeting.
good. Thank you.
Cool.
Sorry to take us off task there, Dave.
Oh, no worries. Okay, next slide. This is the one at Red Shed. This was just completed last month, and I believe, well, he would be using it already, except that he is closed right now doing some work on the interior of the business. We're hoping that that will be done later this week, and we'll be available to sit out there. So next slide. Here's one at Boring Brewing, just finished up a couple of weeks ago. Again, there is a little bit of additional work that's going to be happening on a separate facade project. So in addition to all of this, the building's actually going to be painted and some of the siding is going to be replaced too. I believe he's also replacing the man door there on the south, which is in pretty bad shape. So this building's really going to look nice when they're done, when that part of it's done. Next slide. And then Sandlandia, we just have one small change that we're making to this design to correct a design issue that had come up there. And so this should be done by the end of this week.
So that's the issue. I've seen it up there for weeks now without any tables and chairs. Or just some sort of issue with.
Yeah. There's an issue with the drain that goes around it. They ran into a problem in the back corner there. And so fortunately, our building official, we were looking at having to remove part of it and replace it, which would have been really expensive. But fortunately, our building official came up with a really good solution to the problem and a very inexpensive one too. So hat tip to Terry on that one.
Okay, cool.
And then No Place is scheduled to start, I believe, next week. And hopefully we'll get started on the toll gate shortly after that, and we'll be done. So financial situation. For reference, the original cost estimate for this program back in March was a range of $591,000 to $726,000. This was reduced to a range of $436,000 to $601,000 when the program was cut back to the current 7 active projects that we have. We are currently at a total of $451,000 spent. This includes all of the costs for the first 5 completed projects, so all the images you just saw there, plus the base price from the No Place Saloon project. So my final estimate for this, if we assume a contingency, a small contingency, say 5,000 for change orders at No Place, and we assume a total project cost of between 40 and 70,000 for the toll gate. The toll gate will be a little cheaper because it's not going to have a flat roof. And we did get one bid in already on that one from a company called Patio Cover People. The bid was about $44,000. The applicant didn't want to go with it. He had some pretty valid reasons for not wanting to go with that. We had a little bit of issue with the contractor. So I've got 2 or 3 more contractors lined up. I'm going to be calling tomorrow morning to see about that. I assume that project's going to cost probably in the neighborhood of $50,000 when all is said and done. So that'll give us a final range of 496 to 526. So that's where we're at right now.
Hey, David, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, question for you from Don.
Hey, how did the flat roof on Tollgate? I thought the covered structures were to adopt Sandy style, and I know Tollgate's got an exception, but I thought the covered structures had to comply with Sandy style.
Not in this case, and it's because of that exception, and also because
The direction from this grant program was that would comply with Sandy style.
Well, it does substantially comply with Sandy style. It just doesn't have a pitched roof, because a pitched roof in that particular area, in the place that he wants to put it, would be very, very difficult and expensive.
Well, and all I can speak to is how I took the conversation is that it would comply with Sandy style within the rules of Sandy style. So, I mean, there's only a couple of exceptions to it.
Joe's and Tollgate.
Joe's Donuts, which
No, there is more than
but
that.
there's also more than one Sandy style as well.
Correct.
There's just a little
We
bit
have
of
the
a
white
misconception of
buildings,
that.
we have the
Yeah.
toll gate, there's a number
You're
of
right.
things that are happening there. So if I understood it, I was talking to the toll gate folks, is that it's gonna be complementary to the Sandy style, except for the flat roof. Which
Correct.
fits The toll gate.
That is correct. We actually asked for some modifications to the original design to include Sandy style elements, specifically heavy timbers on the supports. He was going to use aluminum supports, and we asked if we could add that because of Sandy style, and he said, sure, no problem. I don't think that'll be a problem with any other of the contractors that we talked to about that. And it'll still comply with Sandy style as far as color and well, those 2 elements, particularly the heavy timbers and the color, maybe some metal bracketing as well. So there will be Sandy style elements to it. It's just not going to have a pitched roof. So, so I guess the question then becomes, shall the Urban Renewal Agency offer a second round of this program? If you decide tonight to go ahead and do that, there are a couple of changes to the program that the Economic Development Department would like to suggest to the SURA board. I feel that these changes would make my estimates a lot more accurate, and more importantly, it'll significantly reduce change orders in the future, which I know is something that a couple of members of the board have expressed some concern about in the past. The first change that I'd like to suggest is to include in the program the element that we included last time around, saying that if a project exceeds project estimates by a certain amount, 10% say, on the contract price, we'll bring it back before the board for approval before proceeding. Because we'd like to be perfectly transparent in all of this. But truth be told, I think I'm getting a little better about estimating these projects now that I've been through a first round. And I think I have a better handle on what will be needed here, at least not only from a design element, but from a planning and building element as well. So unless there's a disaster with future projects, I really doubt that this is going to be necessary. But I think that for transparency issues, I think that's that's important, and I'd like to suggest that as the first change. The second change is maybe to remove the tables and chairs as an approved expense in this program. The idea behind that was good. We obviously didn't want any of our applicants to be, purchasing the cheap plastic white Costco chairs to put out there underneath these great structures. What we found is only 2 of the first 5, and I don't think the other 2 will be interested either, have expressed any interest at all in doing this. And the rest of the applicants have not only purchased their own tables and chairs, but they've actually purchased really nice ones. I think they see the value in this as well. So I just don't think that that element is necessary for the program to be successful going forward. And that I will leave there as far as changes to the program. And staff is certainly open to suggestion from the board as to any other changes you'd like to make as well.
All right, thanks, David. And I guess first question I have for you is if you've been talking to different business owners in the community, how many do you foresee participating in the second round of applications?
I think I estimated that we will probably see between 3 and 5 applications here. There is a potential we could see more, but I doubt it. And if I were to if I was a bet man, I'd probably say closer to 3 than 5. I know of 3 applicants that will apply for the program right now. I don't know anybody else who's champing at the bit for it, so to speak, although I could see maybe, well, there's 2 other ones that I could see that could potentially apply depending on other variables.
Out of curiosity, how many fall outside of the urban renewal district?
1. And they will absolutely apply for one of these.
Yep. Okay. Other questions, comments?
Is there size limits on the size of the gazebo?
We didn't put any size limits in there originally, and the size we kind of went off of a template of between 20 and 25 feet on each side. The smallest one is 20 by 20. The largest one, I think there was a change we had to do to get around a physical impediment. So I think there was one that's the one at LaHappy is 24 by 27. But if you were considering a maximum, I think 25 by 25 is plenty big, in my personal opinion.
All right, well, the one thing I'd say about the covered structure program in general is that for me, this just hits on all cylinders. As I talk to the business owners who have got these up, they've all talked about an increase in sales as a result of one, just an increase of capacity, but the other summer months and people enjoy sitting outside. I think it's also given a little bit of ease with the Delta variant, not knowing what kinds of restrictions can come down, knowing that we have this available. Our neighbors really enjoy it. The people, Sandy, if I hear compliments all the time from people really enjoying these outdoor structures. And then I think it also is marketable. It helps our community to, so Jeremy's comments earlier is kind of one of those outside things that we become known for, being a little outside the box. And we get travelers heading, the Mount Hood recreational area in Central Oregon in the summer months, a lot in the winter months, and just gives us a little extra kind of enticement for people to stop and shop and dine locally. And so I think the ones that have popped up have been great. It's exactly what we want to use the ARPA funds for. I know this is urban renewal, but we had the earlier conversation about reimbursing some of the program, if not all of it. I'm an advocate. I'd like to go back out to the community under what David has put out here. Maybe we put to the side the tables and chairs. That sounds fine to me. But I'd like to go out to the community and take another look at this thing. That's me. So
I have a couple thoughts. Going back to the Sandlandia, one of the concerns I raised early on when we did this was about the lighting and the color choices, and I was assured that it would comply with style and it would look good. We ended up with kind of a CIA interview light in Sandlandia. It's got one single light hanging down on the bottom, glaringly white, and it's like it could have been spectacular. Instead, it's kind of a miss. So, and I think it's a easy fix, something $300 or $400 or $500. But that of all the sheds that we put up, that's the one as people come into town from Gresham, right? That they're going to see. And so we need to make sure that is lit and just looks sharp. And so, if that's something we can follow up on to correct the lighting underneath it, and then to put some lights on the outside so that it hits and pops as you're coming into town, it'll make all the difference in the world from marketing. So that's one I'd like to see done.
I really haven't seen, it's one of the few I have not been into. What do you mean by just a down? It's like
I mean, if you bought a $50 lamp on sale for $20, a legal bargain, and it had a cone and a light bulb in the bottom, that's what they put in the bottom, in the middle of that shed. And there's no lights around the outside, so it's actually dark. So what you see is the glaring light of the trailers behind it. You don't see the the covered area itself. And Landia is the one of the non-sandy style elements that popped up and really started to redefine kind of our look and feel. And so by putting that covered gazebo up now, we're starting to bring the style elements back in. I would also encourage us to look at what we could do with the longer part of that. So why limit it to one gazebo per business in this particular case? Maybe something else could be built up through the center to tie that in even better and keep that downtown corridor more of the signature sandy style as opposed to food carts. I mean, I want to do food carts with style. That's really what we're after, right?
Don, the only response I have to that is I am a yes for anything we can do to improve that part of town.
Yeah. So this would be a good use of that money, I think.
Go ahead, and then we'll go to Kathleen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'm pretty much in favor of this as well. I haven't seen the one in Sanlandia, but if it is just one of those like you described, Don, that's not.
I had to drive around and double check because I was like, oh no.
Okay, well, I'll make sure I make a point of doing that this week sometime. Yeah, we want to make sure that these are quality. That was one of the original intents to it. So in terms of, as we increase, I think it's a really good idea to do it within the entire city. And so those that are outside of the downtown part, I'm encouraging. I think I know which one it is. And I know that would be a great addition to our city. So I'm in favor.
Great. Kathleen.
I think they're great. I loved, what's nice about it is when you're sitting on the highway, having been here for 30 some odd years, we used to sit outside at these restaurants. The highway noise was just daunting to try to carry on conversation and enjoy yourself. When they have live music or even just canned music in these things, it really buffers the sound of the highway, so you can really enjoy your meal and converse with your folks with you. The one thing I'm really supportive of this whole program, and I like the idea of doing another round of this. The one thing that's just a little bit kind of stuck in my craw though is the fact that the last time we kind of got to approve which projects we're going forth. And I kind of get the feeling like what we're being asked to do now is to say, yep, just approve, a bunch of unknown projects. No, so we would still have to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I want to have equity. I want to have, I don't want one guy coming in with, 100, with 3 times the cost of the other ones and that kind of thing. So I'm thrilled with it and looking forward to seeing some more. I do think we do need to get that drainage issue figured out in the planning stage. I saw the Sanlandia ones has the gutters just kind of pointing right out at people's feet. So when they walk by, they're gonna get wet if it's
They
raining.
put the drain so that the water would flow uphill.
Yeah, and that's what we're correcting right now.
So, yeah, it's just we're getting better at it. So I'm really appreciative of all the improvements we're making and taking note of
Sorry, David.
problems.
No worries.
I thought you were joking.
No, that's.
All right. Are we good, or do we need a motion to go out to another round?
Before we close
Okay.
it, I just want to point out, for outside of the urban renewal district, I would expect that staff would bring back to city council a similar proposal for handling anything outside so that we don't actually inadvertently approve that through this council, this board, correct?
Correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we bring that one application before you, assuming that they apply, we will make very clear that the business in question is outside the urban renewal district, so a different funding stream will be needed.
Clarify, there is no program for outside the urban renewal district today. staff needs to bring a proposal for such a program to council. There is no application unless there's a program, correct?
Yeah, and we can bring that with the proposal for the ARPA funds.
That'd be fine.
Great. Phil, did you have something?
Yeah, I just had a question. You talked about replacement funds. What's that all about? Is there an option to get some of that replaced back in the urban renewal?
Yeah, the ARPA funds, the America Recoveries Act funds that we got, similar to how we did the business relief funds out of urban renewal, then the CARE Act dollars came and we reimbursed. The ARPA funds allow us to also reimburse that urban renewal fund. And so what we're talking about doing is using some of our ARPA allocated funds to reimburse the urban renewal fund for what we use for covered structures.
Awesome. At least a portion of it. Yeah.
It's a portion. We're talking maybe up to the whole thing, but at least a portion. We're still going back and forth on that.
Okay, thanks.
We might also want to consider doing one of these things in the plaza, Sandy Plaza. Just thought.
We have one.
Well, but it's not something that you can kind of set tables under and all that. It's kind of more like the bus stop shelter.
Yeah, I mean, you think like there's a top side section too. Yeah.
Yeah, just, because I mean, during the festivals and stuff we have there, we end up bringing out those umbrella, tables and all that. So just something to consider.
Yeah.
Maybe the farmer's market down.
All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move to authorize the second round of the permanent outdoor covered structure program and to amend the program guidelines as proposed in the staff report.
I'll second that.
We have a motion for board member Walker and a second from member Petzold. All those in favor signify by saying aye or give me a thumbs up.
Aye.
Opposed, a nay or a thumbs down. Motion carries. With that, I will adjourn our Urban Renewal Board meeting. Thank you to Chief Schneider and Chris.